We've all been there. A simple conversation suddenly turns into a duel. No yelling, no fists. Just words twisted like knives. Tones dripping with hidden contempt that make you feel small. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If another can make you angry, it means they have conquered your soul." That's the feeling millions experience every single day. At work, around the dinner table, online. No punches thrown, no shouting. But you walk away wounded. Not on the outside, but deep inside. Misunderstood, cornered, pulled into someone else's verbal trap. The Stoics understood this long ago. Every conversation is a battlefield of the mind, not between right and wrong, but between those who control their emotions and those who are controlled by them. Today, we're going to uncover 6 ways the aggressive use words as weapons, and how a Stoic turns those attacks into silence, not through anger, but through absolute control. Tactic 1. The "so you're saying" trap. This is the oldest trick in the book, and still one of the most effective. The attacker repeats your words, but twists them, turning what you said into something extreme, something ugly, until you find yourself arguing against your own idea. You say, "I think in any relationship, each person should take responsibility for their own emotions." And they reply, "So you're saying you don't care about other people's feelings?" That's the trap. They hand you a distorted version of your truth, and you, eager to defend yourself, step right into it, explaining, justifying, lowering your own authority. Jordan Peterson faced this exact trap in his famous interview with Cathy Newman. She asked, "So you're saying women want to dominate men?" A question soaked in provocation, not reflecting what he said, but what she wanted him to sound like. Most people would lose their temper right there. But Peterson didn't. He stayed calm and said, "No, what I'm saying is that there's a natural dynamic within social structures, and both men and women participate in it." He didn't react. He clarified. And that is the first Stoic counterattack. Clarify, don't defend. When someone says, "So you're saying," stop for 2 seconds. Breathe. Then reply, "No, what I'm actually saying is," Epictetus once taught, "it is not the words themselves that hurt us. It is the way we interpret them." Every time you clarify, you reclaim the right to define yourself. Every time you react, you hand that power away. I tried this once in a meeting. A colleague shot back, "So you're saying my marketing team is bad at their job?" I smiled and said, "No, I'm saying if we coordinate better, we'll get faster results." And that was it. No one offended, no one angry, but I kept control of the room. So remember this. The next time someone twists your words, the first to lose their calm has already lost, but the one who clarifies controls the game. Tactic 2. Assuming the sale. The hidden presupposition trap. This one is subtle. It doesn't attack you head-on. It hides inside the question itself. A quiet ambush waiting for you to step into it. Someone asks, "Why are you always so selfish?" The trap is already set, because the question assumes you're selfish before you even speak. And the moment you say, "I'm not selfish, you've accepted the frame. You've admitted that their version of you might be true. That's how manipulators pull you onto their battlefield. Cathy Newman once asked Jordan Peterson, "Why should women put up with that?" Inside that one line were 2 hidden assumptions. First, there's something women must put up with. Second, he believes they should. But Peterson didn't take the bait. He simply said, "I'm not saying they should put up with it. I'm describing what's happening." That is the Stoic counterattack. Expose the assumption. Call out what's hiding in the question itself. In real life, I've seen this in the quietest moments. A wife asks her husband, Do you not love me anymore? A man ruled by emotion rushes to say, "No, of course I love you." But a Stoic pauses. He looks at her gently and asks, "What makes you feel that way?" Because sometimes the issue isn't love. It's the storm behind the question. Epictetus once said, "If someone forces you to answer an unfair question, remember, silence is also an answer. And in that silence, you reclaim control." Tactic 3. The smash technique, blending words to confuse you. Manipulators love this move. They take two different ideas and fuse them into one sentence, so you can't tell what's true and what's false anymore. Kathy once asked Peterson, "So you want to tell your followers quit the abuse, quit the anger?" She merged abuse and anger as if they were the same thing. That's the trick. It forces you without even realizing it to accept something that isn't true. If Peterson had said, "Yes," he would have admitted his followers were abusive. But he didn't take the bait. He said, calmly, "I'd need specific examples of that abuse." That right there is the Stoic counterattack. Separate before you respond. Break the question apart. Slow it down. Seneca once said, "Not every question deserves an answer. Some are simply traps wrapped in polite words." If someone says, "You're both a failure and lazy," you respond, "Failure, maybe. Lazy, no. Let's talk about the first part." When you separate the parts, you regain control of the tempo. You're no longer dragged into their storm. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you refuse to rush, every attack loses its power." A story. Once, a client snapped at me and said, "You and your team can't be trusted." I simply replied, "Thank you. Could you tell me specifically which part, so I can check? Is it?" He hesitated because he had no real case. Silence. Separation. Reflection. Three things that make the angry step back, and the calm stand tall. Tactic 4. Rapid-fire questions. When they attack with speed. One of the favorite weapons of the aggressive is speed. They talk without pause, no breaks, no breath, firing question after question until your mind spins, and you say things you never meant to say. In that famous interview, Kathy unleashed a barrage. Why are there only 7 women leading FTSE 100 companies? Why does the pay gap still exist? Why do women at the BBC say they're underpaid? The goal was confusion. You can't answer 3 questions at once, and when you stumble, they win. Peterson didn't bite. He broke the rhythm with one calm line. "Let's go back to the first question. We'll take them one at a time." That right there is the classic Stoic strategy. Slow the tempo, regain control. The angry accelerate. The Stoic slows down. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When others try to drag you into their rhythm, breathe, then step slower. They live in chaos. You don't have to join them." A famous investor once said, "In negotiation, the one who talks faster usually loses." Because when you speak fast, you're not thinking, you're reacting. I once sat in a meeting where a client fired questions like bullets. What's the price? The deadline? Why the delay? Who's responsible? I simply said, "Let's stop at the first one, price. I'll answer that clearly." And instantly, the tension dropped. The room shifted because they realized I wasn't playing the game of speed. I was playing the game of composure and intellect. Tactic 5. The Strawman and frame control. This one is the most subtle of all. It doesn't attack your logic. It attacks your frame. The manipulator won't argue against what you said. They'll redefine it. You say, "I believe silence can be stronger than words." They reply, "So you think silence is just a way to avoid responsibility?" A simple twist, and suddenly you're defending yourself instead of your point. The Stoic understands. You can't control the frame they put you in, but you can choose to stand outside of it. Instead of arguing, say calmly, "I don't agree with your interpretation." No. Then be silent. Because when you refuse to play the word game, the other person loses control of the board. A real story. A CEO was once cornered by reporters accusing him of raising prices during a crisis. He replied, "I wouldn't call it raising prices. I'd call it maintaining fairness across the supply chain." One sentence changed everything. From greed to fairness. That's the art of reframing. Seneca once wrote, "No one can insult you unless you agree to play the role of the insulted. Never let them decide who you are." Tactic 6. Persuasive redirection. Guiding them to agree without knowing it. This is the highest level of persuasion, not making someone lose, but helping them realize they already agree with you. In that legendary interview, Kathy asked, "Why is your right to free speech more important than someone else's right not to be offended?" Peterson didn't fight back. He said, "To think at all, we must risk being offensive. And you're doing that right now. You're risking offending me in pursuit of the truth." At that moment, the world went silent. Kathy, who came to corner him, had just proven his point. That's the art of redirection. Show them they already agree. In real life, I've seen this played beautifully. A friend of mine was once told by his boss, "You need to be more realistic. Stop dreaming." He smiled and said, "It's because of your realism that I learned to turn dreams into plans." So, I guess we're working toward the same goal, right? The boss laughed, and the tension vanished. No one lost. No one was humiliated. But the power quietly shifted. This is true Stoicism in action. No ego, no need to dominate. Just clarity. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "The wise man does not fight to win. He speaks so that truth wins." When you no longer crave victory over others, you become untouchable. The 6 Stoic principles of verbal defense. 1. Recognize the frame before you react. Never speak until you understand what's being assumed. 2. Don't answer dishonest questions. Split the meaning. Question back. Slow the game down. 3. Keep your own rhythm. When they rush, you slow. When they shout, you lower your voice. 4. Hold your body like stone. Posture is the loudest message of the Stoic. 5. Persuade through imagery. People remember what they can see, not what they merely hear. 6. When you're right, don't prove it, live it. Truth doesn't need defense. It only needs someone calm enough to embody it. The highest form of verbal mastery. Silence. Someone once asked Epictetus, "How should I deal with a person who insults me?" He replied, "By showing them they are not important enough to make you angry." That is the peak of mastery. Silence, not from fear, but from disdain for the noise. Silence does not mean surrender. Silence is how the Stoic declares victory in the only battle worth winning, the battle within. Conclusion. All 6 of these tactics, from "so you're saying" to the smash technique, are emotional traps, and the Stoic never falls for them. Because the Stoic doesn't react, he observes. Aggression is insecurity in disguise. The confident don't need to shout. The wise don't humiliate others to prove they're right. Stoicism doesn't teach silence out of weakness. It teaches silence because silence is strength. As Seneca said, "There is no greater battle than the one against your own emotions." When you can stay calm under verbal attack, you don't just win the argument, you win yourself. And when that happens, the aggressor apologizes, not out of shame, but out of recognition. because no one can hurt the one who commands himself. Share this video with someone who needs to master the art of calm power, and if you're ready to train your mind like a Stoic, hit subscribe, join this brotherhood of calm strength. Leave a comment below. I choose silence over reaction.